Welcome to School Report, a glimpse into the classrooms of St. Lucie County Public Schools. School Report provides the opportunity to share with the community academic and extracurricular activities of students in our schools. And now, here is School Report.
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Welcome. Thank you so much to all of you for coming. I just wanted to take a second to say that we really appreciate that you're here. We're going to have a great day. My name is Sarah. I'm from Sandy Hook Promise. And what I'd like to do first is introduce to you all your superintendent, Wayne Jennings.
How about if I stand down here by you guys? Can you hear me?
Yes.
How many of you are sad you're not in school right now? Okay. Anyway, we have a school, I think one of our school board members is going to come up and speak in a moment too. We have two of our school board members here, our Vice Chair Catherine Hensley and Troy Ingersoll, and we're glad that they're here. But I'm the superintendent of schools here in St. Lucie County, and I know we have some guests from Martin County and from Palm Beach County and from Okeechobee County. So I want to welcome everybody. This is a very, very important day for us, and we had to postpone because of the storm before. So we're really glad that you're here, because particularly I want to thank the adults, those of you that sponsor clubs on the campus, for what you do each and every day, and for taking this on. But especially to the students, I want to thank you, because we're always looking for future leaders. And for you to take to be here means you're a leader in your school center, and it means that you care about what happens at your school, and that you care about your teachers, you care about your friends, you care about the rest of the staff in the school center. And so what's important to me is that we listen to your thoughts and your ideas. Who knows what culture means, what a culture is? Okay? Culture is how we do things. And then there's a thing called climate. Anybody know what climate is? Climate? Okay? Got one girl over here, raise her hand, she knows everything. So the climate means how does it feel? So like if you go into school and the air conditioning's down or hot, it's warm, that's the climate. But we want to think about how does it feel in your school, and the culture is how do we do things in our school center, and how do we keep each other safe, and how do we look around and make sure that if we see something, we say something. So for you to be here to take the leadership role, we want to hear your ideas. Too many times adults don't listen to the students, and we think we know what's best for everybody, and we do a good job with that. But those that make the most important decisions need to listen to those that are closest to the issues to help find solutions to challenges that we face. So the fact that we've got the students here today is so important to me and to our board members and to all of our staff here in St. Lucie County and the other counties as well, that we listen to the students on how we can make our school safe and what can we do to protect each other, and what are some of the programs and initiatives. And you're going to leave today, I believe, with an action plan about what you can do at your individual school, because just like families and you have brothers and sisters, nobody's alike. Well, no schools are alike either. They're all different. They all have different cultures. They all have different climates. So we're so glad that you're here today, and looking forward to a great day. I want to thank the folks coming down from Sandy Hook Promise to work with us, and we're excited about this initiative. There's no higher priority than to keep everyone safe in our school centers. So again, thank you for your leadership. We're looking for good creativity today. We're looking for good ideas from you as well. And then I look forward to coming out and visiting your school centers. And maybe when you're having your club meetings or you're having the meetings, maybe sit in on a couple of them as well to see what else I can learn from you. Does that sound good? Yeah. Okay. And there's also cookies and food in the back there that I'm sure they'll tell you about later. Yeah. Who's next?
Catherine.
Okay, Ms. Catherine Hensley. She is our school, what's called a school board member. She's a vice chair of the school board, and she has been on the school board for 27 years.
Good morning. So when you know that the adults in power won't do anything to protect you, you have to take it into your own hands. Whether it be climate, whether it be violence, whatever it might be, correct? In this county, in 2000, we started a group called Students Working Against Tobacco, which completely changed the environment of this whole county. Students led referendums. They changed ordinances. They did all kinds of fantastic things with the support of the adults around them who were encouraging to go forward. This is what I expect of you. Some of us have been trying to change the dynamic of this discussion for 20 years. We have had very little success. So it's going to be in the hands of the people who's closest to the issue, and with the support of the adults around you, to push the agenda. I guarantee, with your tenacity, your education, and your support, you will make a significant difference. I am so excited about seeing what happens after you do this training for today. I know a lot of your sponsors. I know how passionate they are and how supportive they are. I'm very excited to see what happens, because I know that you are going to make a significant difference, not only in our region, but way beyond. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. So what we want to start off with today is an icebreaker. You all have in front of you your human bingo sheet. Human bingo is like bingo in that it's like blackout bingo, right? Where you want to fill the whole bingo card. And what you're going to want to do when I say, it's time to get up and go, what you'll want to do is walk around the room and mingle and talk to other people and try to find people who fit the categories of the phrases in each square. So the idea is to fill every square. We're going to do it for about 15 minutes. So we get an opportunity to really get to know each other and feel comfortable with each other, so we can kick off a great day with some interaction. So I think if you guys want to stand up and start walking around, we can get started on this. Chance to mingle a little bit, get to know people. I'm sure you had the opportunity to start conversations and find things in common with people that maybe you thought you would never find something in common with. So that's definitely one of our Start With Hello activities that we'll be talking about a little bit later. What we're going to do right now is I'm going to introduce to you Miss Blair Friedman to talk to you a little bit about Sandy Hook Promise background and about St. Promise Clubs in our background. So if you could give her a warm welcome. Thank you.
All right, good morning, everyone. I am thrilled to be here. I am the region director for the Southeast, and I sit behind a computer a lot. I talk to a lot of adults. So to get to be around youth like you all that are making a change and leading your schools, it is a very exciting day for me to get to be in your presence. So thank you so much for being here. As Sarah said, it's really important for you all to have a background of why we do what we do. Who is Sandy Hook Promise, and how did St. Promise Clubs get started, so that you all know that you're actually being part of a movement. You're being part of something that is going to change, as your superintendent said, the cultural climate of the world we live in. And so Sandy Hook Promise, we are a national nonprofit that is led by family members who unfortunately lost their loved ones during the tragedy that took place at Sandy Hook Elementary in 2012. What we do is we help prevent violence and victimization before it happens by teaching both youth and adults what the signs are of somebody that might be at risk of hurting themselves or others, and how to intervene and get them help. We want to make sure that people understand that we're not telling you, you're the ones that are going to help. You're going to be the ones to link them to help, right? But unfortunately, a long time ago, there was an epidemic like they were talking about with the issues of tobacco, right? There was similarly an epidemic with drunk driving. And so from that, everything came where there was this designated driver model, right? And so through education, through policy, through legislation, through just grassroots organizing, we were able to teach people that you don't ever get in a car and drive after you've had a drink, right? And that's just common knowledge. We know this. But I don't need to go to a party with a 3-ring binder that tells me what I need to do. I just know if I see somebody that shouldn't be driving, that I'm going to go ahead and take the initiative and make sure that they don't get behind a wheel, or that I'm the designated driver, right? That's just become intuitive to us. We know this. This is what we want with these programs. We want a year, 5 years, 10 years from now, for you all to know when you feel those goosebumps on your arms, when you read that thing on social media that makes you think, this isn't right, I know something's wrong, you're not going to have to refer back to any books or resources. You're just going to know that this is something you need to do something about, right? So that's really this overall goal that we're really trying to do and that you're going to be a part of today and here on out. So how do we do this? So the way we do this is through our 2 Know the Signs programs. The ones that you're going to get to hear today. Our Start with Hello program, which is all about teaching youth about how to prevent social isolation, about how to build a more connected community in school so that everybody is happier, everybody is safer. But we're going to also teach you how to do that. And then next is our Say Something program, which is, again, where we're really going to go through what are those warning signs and what does that look like on social media and how to do something about it and get that person help, right? So again, these are violence prevention programs. You might think about Start with Hello and say, well, how's that violence prevention? And you're going to learn a little bit about that today. We are all about prevention. We are not about what happens after it. We want to make sure that no act of violence ever happens in schools in your communities. So I want you to be thinking about today that you are on the front end of that. You are the first line of defense, just like we have some great representatives here. You are those lifeguards that are going to step in before anything happens. And I want you to be thinking about that theme throughout the day and be thinking about yourself in that way. So Sandy Hook Promise has been around for about 5 years now, but SAVE, which is who we've merged with, Students Against Violence Everywhere, has been around a lot longer. While we had these great programs, SAVE had this amazing sustainability model that we knew was the secret to our recipe. We knew that we couldn't go in and do a program. We had to have you all, leaders, sustain it, and that's why we merged with Students Against Violence Everywhere a couple years ago. So they have been around for over 30 years, and it's important to know the background because it's important to know why this got started. Alex Orange was known as a peacemaker. He was a football player, just an all-around good guy. He attended an after-school party. It was a Stop Violence Jam. He showed up, and he was just there to have a good time and promote a good cause with his friends, and unfortunately, a rival school showed up, and guns were there. While he tried to step in and say, this isn't the place for that, and to please, to stop any violence from happening, unfortunately, he lost his life. His friends came together at the high school to make sure that this wouldn't happen again, and that's when they developed SAVE in 1989. So what is a Safe Promise Club? All of you here today, you're all here with the same goal, to keep your schools safe, to be upstanders, to promote these messages. But what does that look like? Because you all are going to be coming from different levels, right? So you might have a club that you've been doing so much work with, right? Last year, you did 4 activities and you really got this thing down. Or this might be completely new to you, and that's okay. What we want you to take away is that no matter where you are in this process, that we want you to leave with something that you can do no matter what level you're at or what familiarity you have. So this is a place for you all to show your leadership, to show your creativity, to show your passion about how you can prevent violence from happening. Just like you heard from your superintendent and your school board members, this is about you. It is not about the adults. You have adults in this room because, hey, let's be real, right? We can't find space, we need to have a meeting room, we need to have somebody to do the emails, but they're here to listen to you all and deliver that message because you are the ones that are going to create this change. You know your peers. You're the first line of defense. So you all play a unique role, and we want to use these clubs to empower that, right? So through this, you organize activities and lessons and all of these great things, not just for your club, for your whole school to get involved with, so that it's not just affecting 10 or 15 or 30 people in a club, but have an eye on how your whole school is going to be affected. Just like your school board member said, just like your superintendent said, it's about your whole school's culture. And everyone is different, but you all know the culture of your school, and you all know what you want that culture to be, and that's, again, what I want you to be keeping an eye on. So we think about the 4 E's when we're thinking about Safe Promise Clubs, right? We're thinking about educating, empowering, encouraging, and engaging, right? So these are the 4 things I want you all to think about as you action plan, as you observe these programs. How are you going to make sure that you're educating students in your school about this, that you're empowering other youth with the knowledge that they need to be effective? How are you going to encourage positive peer influences and leadership? And how are you just going to engage students in general? Just to wrap up and to make sure that we're all on the same page here, is that when you leave here today, you're going to be thinking about how you're going to be in charge of organizing activities to engage your schools, how you're going to create a culture of looking out for one another, being an upstander. Before I continue, who knows what an upstander is? Does anybody know what an upstander is? Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much. What is your name? Thank you, Sunny. So somebody that stands up against something that might be bad, right? So when you're a bystander, then you might just let something pass on by, right? We might see something and not do anything about it, but when you're an upstander, you're not letting anything get through. And that's what we want you all to be, and know that you are, because you're sitting here today. So be thinking about that word as well. And we want to, again, spread that message throughout. So just so that you know, we really want you to understand, you're sitting in this room today with 100 people, but you are about something so much bigger. These clubs, and again, it might not be called a Save Promise Club. It might be your Kindness Club. It might be your Peace Ambassadors. Know that when we say Save Promise Clubs, we're talking about everything that you're doing. It doesn't have to be called that, so just know that everything that you're doing is what we're talking about. We're in 48 states. We have over 2,200 clubs across the country, in elementary, middle, and high, even some colleges, and even in some nonprofits. So you're a part of this huge network across the country. What can you do? What are some of the activities that you're going to learn about today? So you're going to see Sarah present both the Start With Hello and Say Something program. Even though Sarah is an experienced presenter and trainer, this program is designed for even students to be able to pass this along. It is a very easy, intuitive program. We share with you the PowerPoints and everything. So while I want you to be observing the message while Sarah's showing it to you, also be thinking, I can do this. I can stand up in front of my whole school in an auditorium or maybe go class to class and give the same presentation, right? Because we want you to take the messages to everyone. Does anybody know what's happening this week across the country? Regards to Sandy Hook Promise? Yes?
Start with Hello Week.
Start with Hello Week, yes, exactly. So we have 2 call to action weeks a year, a Start with Hello Week, which is happening right now, and a Say Something Week, which happens in the spring. This is the time. Call to action means we're telling everybody about it. We're getting everybody together to just make sure that there is attention and noise about these causes. And these are great times to spread these messages across your school. So you're going to plan for those weeks so that you know Monday through Friday, you're going to have activities ready to go that are going to celebrate these weeks. You can facilitate lunchtime sessions. You can have No One Eats Alone Day. You can have, a booth at a certain time of the day where you're answering questions. So many things that you're going to do that you're going to find in your activity guide and beyond once we get to that point. Even something might seem simple, having a poster up, having visuals. Maybe you're artistic and you like to draw, and that you draw the 3 steps of starting with hello or saying something, and you put those around the school. Just that reminder is a really important thing as well. So again, finally, you all are part of the solution. We all know you want safer schools and communities. We all know you have the solutions that we may not, and we want to listen to you, and we want you to be empowered. So thank you for listening to that background on Save Promise Clubs. Now does anybody have any questions actually about Save Promise Clubs, responsibilities, anything? No, cool. Just know as well, Sarah and I are around too during lunch. Anybody has questions, do not hesitate to pull us. And now I'm going to hand it back over to Sarah so that you can experience our Start With Hello program.
All right, hello again. So I'm going to present to you all our Start With Hello program. Like Blair said, when our managing directors sadly lost their loved ones, they got together and did a bunch of research. And in that research, they talked to a bunch of different people. They talked to school professionals, they talked to the FBI, they talked to counselors, principals, superintendents, and what they found is that violence is largely preventable. And one of the things that we found is that one of the things that causes violence is social isolation. So this program I'm going to be talking to all of you about today is about how we can get rid of social isolation in our school and what we can do as those leaders to help include other people who might be feeling left out. Because what we know from our research is that social isolation can lead to some really bad stuff. So, hello, my name is Sarah. To start the program, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I was a teacher for 17 years. I taught in Miami, I taught in New York City, I taught in Tampa. I loved being a teacher, and I love coming and talking to students and empowering you all to lead this message in your schools. So I want to start off by telling you a story about me when I was in middle school. Is anybody in middle school here? All right, high school? Ooh, okay, all right. Nice to see you and welcome again. So when I was in middle school, my middle school went 7th, 8th, 9th grade, which is a little bit different, right? And by the time I got to 9th grade, everybody pretty much knew each other. Everybody pretty much had their friends that they hung out with, their groups, right? And they pretty much kept to themselves. The school I went to, we didn't get a lot of new students. And so in 9th grade, in the beginning of the school year, I noticed a girl who hadn't gone to school there before. And I noticed this girl by herself a lot. I noticed her by herself in the lunchroom. I noticed her by herself in the classroom. I noticed her by herself in the hallways, in class, and she really was quiet and kept to herself. She was in my history class. And I thought, one day, and I remember it was a Thursday because on Friday I was going to spend the night at my friend's house, and a bunch of girls were coming over and we were all going to sleep over at her house. So this day, I don't know what inspired me to do this, but I walked up to the front of the classroom, and this girl walked up to the front of the classroom at the same time. We were handing in our papers, you know, before you walk out of class, how you hand in your paper. We were handing in our papers, and I said, "Hey, you're Amber, right?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm going to sleep over at my friend Rachel's house tomorrow night, and I wanted to know if you wanted to come with us." And she was like, because that was kind of weird, right, to invite her to somebody else's house. But she was like, I guess I'll ask my mom. So she went home and she asked her mom, and her mom was like, "I think you should go. You don't know anybody at your school. If you don't like it, we'll pick you up." So she ended up coming, and long story short, Amber and I have been, that was 1993, and Amber and I have been friends for 20 plus years. Now, yeah, so, and that all started with me just saying hello to her. But what I didn't know about Amber, and I found out later, was that Amber wasn't just sad because she was at a new school. Amber had actually just lost her father. And because she lost her father, she had lost her main source of income. As a result of that, they had lost their home and had to move into a very different living situation. She had to start at a new school. So she was really going through a lot. What I saw was just a girl who didn't know anybody at school, and I thought I would invite her to join us so that she wasn't left out, right? But I didn't realize that there was so much more going on. Now, I'm not saying that Amber's isolation would have led to her becoming violent against someone else or against herself. But what I am saying is, you never know what you can prevent, and you will never know what you prevent when you plant that seed of just starting with hello with someone you don't know. And I gained so much from it, right? I gained 20 plus years of friendship. So, and she's been there for me lots of times, and I've been there for her lots of times. So it worked out really well for me. And so that's why I'm here to empower you all to be that person who starts with hello with someone at your school who you notice. And today we're gonna learn about how to create a closer, more connected, and inclusive community at your school, right? And what I want you to start by doing, and you can close your eyes if you want to, but you don't have to if you don't feel comfortable. But I want you to think about a time that you felt alone. A time you felt lonely, shut off, ignored, passed over, not seen. I want you to think about where you were. I want you to think about what you felt like. And I want you to remember that feeling. We're going to come back to it later in the presentation. It's not a great feeling, right? I want you to know that in every school and in every community, Many students are alone and isolated and suffering through every day. And what we know as a result of that is that it can lead to some really bad stuff. We know it can lead to bullying, and that means being a bully or being bullied. It can lead to depression, being sad for 2 or more weeks at a time. And in the most extreme, it can lead to violence against oneself or violence against others. So we want to make sure that we're always reaching out to people that we see alone, because like I said, we know it can lead to people pulling away from society, not wanting to be part of the group anymore. It can lead to struggles with learning, maybe not wanting to go to school, maybe not wanting to ride the bus to school. It can even lead to development of physical health issues, meaning being alone can make you sick, because people need people. And like I said before, in the most extreme, it can lead to people hurting themselves or hurting someone else. And that's what we're all here together trying to prevent, right? So let's talk about why we're talking about you. I know you've heard from a bunch of us adults that we need you, we need you, we need you. We need you. Like I said, I was a teacher from kindergarten through 12th grade. I taught every grade over the 17 years that I taught. And there was one thing I saw in every grade, if they were 5 or if they were 18, and that's at lunch, I saw kids that were sitting by themselves, and it broke my heart. And what I used to say to the kids in my class is, we're a team, and we're a family. And you don't get to pick your team, and you don't get to pick your family. But we don't leave people out, right? So I would encourage them, please, go sit with someone that you don't know that's sitting by themselves. I always wanted to do it myself, but I would always be thinking, what is that gonna look like if I sit with that student? Maybe like they're in trouble. Maybe it just draws attention to the fact that they're by themselves. And that's why we need you. Because only you can create that kind of peer-to-peer connectedness. Because if we see two students sitting together, eating, we just think that they're friends, right? It doesn't look like anything. It doesn't make anybody think anything. So we need you. We are here to inspire you, to empower you, to create that kind of connectedness in your school and community, and to go back to your school and really lead this message, right? So today I'm going to teach you how in just 3 simple steps. And we're going to start off. I know we might still be a little bit sleepy, but if you can repeat after me, and I bet you by the last time we do this, you'll be much louder. Step 1, repeat after me. See someone alone. See someone. Oh, you're already so good. Step 2, reach out and help. Reach out and help. And step 3 is start with hello. Start with hello. All right, now I'm going to break these steps down for you. We want to start with see someone alone. So the first thing you're going to do is notice someone. Like I noticed Amber, right? I kept noticing her places. I kept seeing her by herself and thinking, that girl is new and she's by herself. And it bothered me. I didn't like to see that, so I wanted to reach out to her, right? What I want to say first is I want you to know that there is a such thing as healthy alone time, right? Sometimes you're reading a book, maybe you had a day that wasn't the best day, or maybe you did have the best day and it just took a lot of your energy. Maybe you got a grade you didn't want, maybe you had a fight with your parents or your brother or your sister and you just don't feel like talking to anybody that day. That's okay. There is a such thing as healthy alone time. When you're looking and seeing someone alone, these are the things that I want you to look for. I want you to think about this person that prefers to be alone. This person that you notice keeps to themselves. Is maybe anxious or uncomfortable around other people. Maybe they're being purposely left out. Maybe you notice it online. Maybe you notice it in real life at events. Maybe you notice it when it's time in class and your teacher lets you pick your groups and you notice someone didn't get picked. And that person might seem removed. Now, I'd love to hear from some of you all where you think you see social isolation or see people alone at your school. Does anybody want to volunteer that information for us? Anywhere in your school, sure. You want to say it at the microphone? Cafeteria is a big one. Let me tell you a story. I went to the mall the other day to buy some makeup, and I was talking to the girl who I was buying the makeup from, and she was like, what do you do? And I told her what I do, and she was like, oh, I wish I would have had that program in my high school. She goes, when I was in high school, I was so scared to walk into the cafeteria and pick where I was gonna sit that I ate lunch in the bathroom every single day. I know, isn't that awful? Yeah, and it's just so sad to think the cafeteria is a huge one, right? Where else? Where else might we see social isolation? Here I come.
Like in PE and not getting picked.
In PE, not getting picked, and I never got picked in PE. All right.
I guess partner work.
Partner work, yeah, definitely, and somebody not getting picked in partner work.
When you're outside of the classroom, like before class starts.
Yeah.
Definitely, that's such a big one, unstructured times. And what I mean by that is like maybe you aren't necessarily like sitting in a classroom in front of a teacher when you're in the hallway before or after class. I know some schools have like a courtyard where you can hang out if you get there early. That's another time where you might stay. Does anybody else want to share before I move on? All right, so some that we have is in the classroom, on the school bus on the way to or from school, or even if you walk to and from school. Maybe at special events at school, football games, dances, maybe on a sports team or in PE or gym, like you said, and the lunchroom, and social media, which is one that I always get kind of funny looks for because people think, oh, what are you talking about? I have 500 friends. I'm not isolated on social media, but if you think about it, you really are by yourself on social media. You might have other people acknowledging you, but it is an individual activity while you're looking at your phone, right? So, now that we know where we can see someone alone, what someone alone looks like, I want to talk to you about what I think is probably the most difficult part, which is reach out and help. And I want you all to think about what might make it hard to reach out to someone that you might not know and just talk to them like I did with my friend Amber. For me, I'm just really outgoing, so it wasn't that hard for me. I didn't really think a lot about it before I did it. But I know there's lots of reasons that both adults and students might find it hard to reach out to someone they don't know. And what I want to ask you to do is when I say go, I want you to turn and talk to someone at your table. And of course, in the spirit of things, make sure everybody at your table has somebody to talk to about what might stop you from reaching out and helping. Go. I would love to hear from some of you all what you think might stop you from reaching out to someone that you don't know. What do we think? What might stop you? I heard some really good things while I was walking around. Here I come.
How people react once you introduce yourself or say something. You don't want them to be upset that they're talking to you. Maybe they're going through something hard and they don't want your inclusion.
Absolutely. I mean, how are they going to react? You don't know how someone else is going to react. And I think that that's a great and very valid answer.
If someone doesn't want to be friends with you.
Maybe they don't want to be my friend.
That's what I was going to say.
They talked about it together. Anybody else?
Sometimes it's hard to strike up a conversation with somebody.
I'm so glad you said that. Sometimes it's hard to strike up a conversation with somebody because I'm going to help you with that today.
Maybe if they look like intimidating or aggressive.
Yeah, maybe the way they look, maybe the face that they're making, or anything about their appearance might be different than you, and that feels intimidating. They might be aggressive. Great answer.
They're shy.
If they're shy, I know we said over here, if you're shy.
They're sad and they don't want to talk to anybody.
Maybe they're not going to want to talk to me. There's a lot of stuff we're thinking, right?
So I'm speaking for Micaiah, and she said that her friends might influence if she goes over to talk to somebody, because if that person's a troublemaker, she doesn't want to be associated with troublemakers, and her friends will have a lot of influence on that.
So true. You know, that's really interesting because I think back to the very weird thing I did of inviting someone over to somebody else's house. And the thing about it was, what if my other friends hadn't liked her when I invited her over? You know what I mean? I invited her over to somebody else's house. There were going to be other people there that were my friends. I mean, it all worked out. We're all still friends. Did you want to share?
Losing your place in the social hierarchy.
That's such a great answer, thank you. Losing your place in the social hierarchy, like maybe that person's not as cool as you, and maybe, we've got a lot back here, and maybe we need to like check that, right? I gotcha, I love the way you said that, very smart.
Kind of how what he said, how others perceive you when you're reaching out to that person.
Right, I think we're all thinking about what other people are thinking, right?
Like how they'll react when I go on social media and say stuff.
How they're gonna react, what they're gonna say if they say stuff to you about you on social media.
When an adult approaches you and you like don't know them and you're uncomfortable with them.
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely want to let you know, that's a perfect time to let you know that I'm not encouraging you talking to people outside of your school community that you don't know. I'm definitely not encouraging that. Just people that you know and you see alone in the area.
For me, it's like overthinking everything that might happen.
For her, it's overthinking. I said, me too. Me too. Always thinking. All right, so these are all reasons. What do I do when I reach out? I want to reach out, but I don't want to be awkward, and I don't want to make anybody else feel awkward. Do they really even want to talk to me? Won't they think I'm strange, just randomly walking up to them? And I always think that one's funny, because what I did with my friend Amber was super strange. It was a very weird thing to do. It's funny, I was, in middle school, and I was doing funny things. But even though she thought it was strange, she said yes. And it worked. And the truth of the matter is, it was 20 plus years ago. It was 1993. If it wouldn't have worked, I probably wouldn't be spending much time thinking about that now, right? So it would have been fine. It would have been okay. So all of those are reasons that make it hard for people to reach out. But the good news is that I have tips for you today. We have practices. We have different things we can do, like the human bingo that you all did a little while ago, that will make it easier for you to reach out and talk to people that you maybe thought you would never have something in common with. And how to start a conversation and keep that conversation going. So what can you personally do? Really easy stuff you can do. You can sit with someone who may feel alone, someone you notice all those things, and you think, I think that they're alone. You can reach out on social media. So if you are shy, if you are anxious to talk to someone, that's a great one. If you notice someone posting stuff on social media and never getting acknowledged, you can acknowledge them. You can like it. You can see them in school and say, hey, I saw you went to Disney World this weekend. What was that like? Did you have fun? You can invite someone to join you, like I did with Amber, right? You can just give a simple gesture to someone. As you all were walking in, I smiled at so many of you, and all the people I smiled at smiled back at me. And most of the time that you smile at someone, they will smile back at you. You can wave. You can make eye contact and let someone know, I'm about to talk to you, right? To make it a little more comfortable. And you can leave a handwritten note. I love leaving a handwritten note. It always makes me laugh because when I was in high school and middle school, we didn't have cell phones to text each other. So I wrote a lot of notes, and I got in a lot of trouble for it. And now I go to schools and I tell kids to write notes, so it's just kind of ironic, and I like it. But a handwritten note is a great way to show somebody that you notice them. It's also another one that's really good if you, as the leader of this message, feel shy or anxious to do it. It's a great way to break the ice without having to really take that risk, right? You're afraid of how the person's gonna react. Maybe they'll write you back. Maybe they'll talk to you in person. So what can your school do? And this is where you all as Safe Promise Clubs really get involved. We did, no, it's not on there. We did human bingo. But you can also do No One Eats Alone Day, which is a great one. You can set it up any way you want so that everybody has somebody to sit with during that day at lunch. And like Blair said, this is Start With Hello Week, so it's a great time to do any of these things, or if you wanted to push it back and celebrate next week, we're gonna give you some time to action plan on that. You can do Hey Day, where everybody wears a name tag. It makes it so much easier to talk to people when you already know their name. You can do a Get to Know Me Day or a mixed grade social like we're doing right now, right? This is a mixed grade social. Everybody in here is in a different grade. We're getting up and talking to each other and planning together and really becoming experts in this together. And the third step is Start With Hello. What I want to tell you about Start With Hello is 8 out of 10 people, and I mean the adults and the students in the room, 8 out of 10 of us are hesitant to start a conversation for all the reasons you said. They feel shy. They feel nervous. They worry about what the person's going to say to them or think about them. But even though 8 out of 10 people are hesitant to start that conversation, that same 8 out of 10 people are happy that they did. I know I'm happy that I did because I made a lifelong friendship, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over some of our icebreakers. We're going to do them each in a different way, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to start a conversation when you have these tools, and how to find things in common with someone that you don't know. So, do I have a brave volunteer to come up here and talk to me? Come. All right, we're going to show you how this one works. The first icebreaker is the 5 W's. Who, what, where, when, and why. You all know these. You probably learned them, you know, in your earlier years in school, in a writing class or a journalism class. It's just that simple. And with just these 5 questions, we'll be able to find out more about each other and probably even find some things in common. It's pretty amazing how often I do this with students and we're able to find things in common. So hi, I'm Sarah. What's your name?
My name is Morgan.
Morgan, do you have a nickname?
No.
I don't either. I always wanted a nickname. My name's only 4 letters. So like, there's no nickname. I always try to get people to give me a nickname, but it always ends up being longer than my name. So, it never works out. So what kind of things do you like to do? What's your favorite thing to do?
I've been involved in musical theater for a lot of my life, and I don't know, I like to do stuff. I do a broad range.
Likes to do stuff. I like to do stuff. We got stuff in common because we both like to do stuff. All right, cool. So have you always lived here?
I used to live in Fort Pierce, but it's basically the same thing. Yeah.
And what's your favorite place to visit?
Probably family. I really like to visit family because we're really close.
It's really nice. Everything I do, all my vacations are with my family. So we definitely have that in common. We can talk. Did you go anywhere with your family this summer?
Well, we went to, my aunt actually works at Disney, so she gives us passes, so we all got to go for the summer.
That's amazing. I was in Disney on Saturday. So was Mr. Potter. Yeah, we found that out when we were doing Human Bingo, so we're really learning a lot about each other. What's your favorite park?
I haven't been to all of them actually. I've only ever been to Magic Kingdom and Animal Kingdom, but I would probably say Magic, because I like the castle. It's pretty cool.
I love the castle. We just took my nephew there this summer. My brother had a son. Just wait, you love your family, just wait until your siblings have kids. It's amazing. Yeah, and we took him to Disney World, and he was like, every time he sees a Disney movie, he goes, one day I'm going to that castle. One day I'm going to that castle. We took him to the castle, and he was like, cool. Which is really funny. So why is hanging out with your family your favorite?
I think it's because we're all like around the same age range, so we really relate to each other. Yeah, all the cousins, but there's a lot of family drama and stuff. It's just nice. Yeah.
All right, y'all, let's give it up for Morgan. See how easy it is to find things in common with people that you might look at us and think, oh, she's an adult. She's a young adult. They probably don't have anything in common. I mean, we could have just talked for a really long time, right? The next icebreaker we have that can start a conversation is called if yous. And if yous are a great conversation starter to really get things going. And for this one, we're going to do a turn and talk or a table talk again, where y'all are going to talk about if you could be any superhero, who you would be and why. Go. I asked this question in schools a lot, and I had a student tell me the other day that I should be the Flash because I travel a lot for work and I can get there a lot faster. And I was like, that's a really good idea. And then he was like, and he can time travel. And I was like, oh, sold. I didn't know he could time travel. Definitely, I'm definitely the Flash. Anybody else the Flash? You're the Flash too? But I think it's not tiring because you're so fast. Too much running over here. What? Anybody else want to share their superhero and why?
I said Supergirl or Wonder Woman. I don't know, I like the woman empowerment.
Loves the woman empowerment. Yeah, girl.
I think I kind of like our made-up power that we can do.
Well, you could be you with your own power, if that's what you feel like.
Yeah, because I was thinking of like making people smile, just like by doing something, and then everybody's happy.
That's a great power. All right.
For Sophia, and she wants to be Thanos.
Thanos, and why?
It's powerful.
Sophia wants to be Thanos because Thanos is powerful. Anybody else?
Iron Man.
How come you want to be Iron Man?
Because he was able to make a nanotech suit, and since the driver's was destroyed, he can fly. And I was wondering.
I really need to get up on my Marvel comics because I tried to watch Endgame with my sister, and the whole time I was like, is that raccoon talking? What's happening in this movie? I don't understand. She was like, oh, please go to sleep. You're being very annoying.
I would be the Flash. I will just eat all junk food possible.
And you'd like stay in shape because you ran so much?
Yeah, perfect power.
That is a very good plan. Just another reason why I want to be the Flash. You just gave me another reason. I never would have guessed that that's who I wanted to be.
Thor, because he's a god.
I like it. I saw him.
Wolverine, just because he's cool.
That's my comics. I like the X-Men. Wolverine because he's cool. I agree. Wolverine's very cool. If I was going to be an X-Man, I would be Rogue. I don't know, they don't put her in a lot of the movies, but she was my favorite in the cartoons when I was growing up. Yeah, I watched those cartoons. All right, so that's if you. You can do things like if you were a fish, a bird, or an animal, and I think meaning like a mammal, which one you would be. So let's just raise our hands. How many of you would be a fish? I never have a lot of fish. Never have a lot of fish. Think a shellfish? A sailfish. I thought you said a shellfish. I was like, okay, well, it's a fish. How about a bird? Because you can fly, right? And how about an animal? When I say an animal, I mean like a mammal, other than a human. I'd be a dolphin, I think, so yeah. I think that fits under animal. All right, and there's lots of different if-yous you can come up with. It's really endless, and it's a great conversation starter. And if you notice, like in the morning, it's so quiet when we first got here, but like there's like a little more conversation going. You're starting to feel comfortable, finding things you have in common with people, like we're both the Flash. The next one is your faves. Your faves is endless. You can think of so many different categories for your faves. You have your favorite color, your favorite food, your favorite video game. The one I want to do with you all right now is your favorite holiday. Oh, mine too. Who said Halloween? Me too. Oh, I want to talk to you about what you're going to be. Raise your hand if your favorite holiday is Halloween. Me. What about Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving. Usually more adults for Thanksgiving. How about 4th of July? Hanukkah? Christmas? Christmas is a big one. Is that because you get presents? Yeah? Well, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, I also want to do favorite ice cream. It's not up there, but I love ice cream. How many of you's favorite ice cream is vanilla? I'm always surprised by you people. How about chocolate? How about cookies and cream? Yes. How about mint chocolate chip? How about chocolate chip cookie dough? Butter pecan, really? Really, you got Okay, did I miss a good ice cream? Strawberry? Coffee's my favorite. Coffee, but I like Rocky Road. Rocky Road? Pistachio? Who likes pistachio? That's very mature of you. What's yours? Cookie dough. Cookie dough. Oh, birthday cake. Birthday cake's a good one. Cake batter. It's a little too sweet for me. I like coffee with chocolate chips in it. I like whatever it is, it has to have chocolate chips in it. I like how crunchy they are when they're frozen. What's yours? Ooh, that's also very mature. Coconut ice cream is delicious. All right, so literally this is endless. You can think of so many different categories that you can do your faves about. So it's a really fun, easy one to keep conversation going. If you feel like I don't have anything to say when I walk up to that person, I don't know what to say, your faves is an easy one. This creates a lot of conversation. So this one's my favorite icebreaker. And this one is called Would You Rather. And in this one you pick this or that. I actually do this with my friends all the time. The girl I lived with in college, her and I have been fighting about a Would You Rather for a year next month. Every time we see each other, she's like, don't even bring it up. I don't want to talk about what you picked. So we definitely have a lot of Would You Rathers up there, but I would like to give you my own Would You Rather. And the Would You Rather I'd like to give you is, if I told you that you could only have one social media platform for the rest shocking. One social media platform for the rest of your life, would you rather have Snapchat or Instagram? How many of you say Instagram? Raise your hand. How many of you say Snapchat? Raise your hand. How many of you ready like, MySpace, Facebook, and I'm like, are you making fun of me? All right, so that's how Would You Rather looks. There's an endless amount of them. You can go online and find them, and they have some really interesting ones that you'll talk about for like an hour because you will not agree with someone and you'll want to talk about why. Like I had a girl say to me in the front row of a presentation, she was like, why would you pick Snapchat? Instagram has everything that Snapchat has and more. Okay, and you're like, that's not true. So you and her could have had a great conversation, right? So these conversation starters can help you find things in common or help you start a conversation, right? About why you think yours is better. The next icebreaker is called My Shoes. And My Shoes is not about the kind of shoes you have. My Shoes is about sharing stories with the other person about where your shoes have been. So My Shoes go to a lot of schools. I always wear these shoes because they're super comfortable. My Shoes go to a lot of schools to talk to students. They've been to Manatee County this week and last week. They were in Volusia County the week before. So My Shoes have been to a lot of schools. I actually think it might be time to trade them in for a new pair of shoes. And in a minute, not right now, but in a minute, we're gonna come back to that and I'm gonna ask you to talk to people at your table about it. But for now, we're gonna move on to the next one. And for this one, I want you all to think back to the beginning of the presentation. When I asked you to think about a time where you felt lonely, a time where you felt like nobody saw you, a time where you felt shut out. And I want you to imagine on that day, wherever you were. When I was your age, for me, that was at my house a lot because I was the middle child and I feel like they were always ignoring me. Wherever you were, I want you to imagine that somebody walked up to you with just a little sticky note that said, I'm so happy you're here today. Imagine how much better that would have made that feeling be. This is also a really easy icebreaker if you have a hard time doing this. If you feel like, oh, I don't know, miss, this is like, you're asking me a lot to walk up to someone I don't know. This would be a great thing for you to do to let somebody see how valued they are. So you could put a compliment. You could put one of these icebreakers. You could just write on there, would you rather live in the city or the country? And just start a conversation with them that way. So a handwritten note is a great thing to do if you still are like, I'm still not that comfortable with this. So the next thing I want you to do is I would love to have 2 volunteers to come up here. All right, come and come. All right, now the rest of you, while I'm talking to them for a minute, what I would like you to do is talk to the people at your table about where you've been in your shoes. And if you're wearing like a brand new pair of shoes, one time somebody told me my shoes had been to DSW. Because they had just bought them. So if you're wearing a brand new pair of shoes, you could also talk about where another pair of shoes, maybe where they went this summer, or where they're going soon. Go ahead. Was that enough time? Did everybody get to share? All right, so I have Lainey and Colson up here, and they're going to show you just how easy it can be to meet someone that you don't know and start this conversation with you. So they'll be doing the My Shoes activity for you all right now.
Hi, my name is Colson.
Hi, my name is Lainey. Where have you been in your shoes?
I've been in Miami.
Oh, that's cool. I like Miami.
Born in Miami.
Oh, I was born in Ohio.
Nice. Where you been in your shoes?
I've been to Tennessee to beta camp.
That's far.
All right, let's give them a round of applause.
So that was great, and that's just an example of how easy it is to talk to someone you don't know when you already know what you're going to say and you kind of have an idea of that conversation. So why should you start with hello? to create a closer, more inclusive school and community. To create friendships, like I did, right? That's how I created one of my closest friendships, and to inspire others to create friendships. Let me tell you a story about a school I was at in Palm Beach. So we were giving a presentation at a school in Palm Beach, and we had given the presentation. I wasn't the presenter, someone else presented. It was our other program that you'll see this afternoon. So it was like springtime of last year, and after the presentation, I was talking to this girl, and she said to me, I hadn't been here for our Start With Hello presentation at the beginning of the school year. She said, because I moved here in October from Turkey. You guys know where Turkey is? Far. She moved from far. So she had gotten to school that first day. It wasn't the first day of school. The school had already received the Start With Hello program. Start With Hello week had already passed. Everybody was going about their business. They were seniors in high school. And she's telling me this story, and she told me, so the first day I was here, I was walking out of the school, and I called my dad, and I said, nobody talked to me all day. I didn't make any friends. I want to go home. Put me on a plane back home now. She was yelling at him. She told me I was yelling at my dad to take me home, to send me home. And she was saying all this in Turkish. And all of a sudden, she felt somebody grab the back of her book bag. And she turned around, and the girl behind her goes, are you from Turkey? I'm from Turkey. And as she's telling me this, we're in the auditorium, and the other girl comes running down the aisle of the auditorium and puts her arm around her, and she goes, and now we're best friends, and we're going to college together, and we're going to be roommates, and it's so great. So we start with hello, and why you should start with hello is because you can create a lasting friendship. You can make a difference in someone's life and help them feel accepted, included, noticed, valued, help them not have that feeling we talked about in the beginning of the presentation. And of course, at the most extreme, you can help someone from possibly hurting themselves or hurting someone else. So these are all things that people have said after they participated in the program. I saved my friend's life. It made me feel valued, noticed, I belonged. I found my best friend. It made me a better person. I got my friend help. And you all know we're going to get started with your clubs in your classroom. When you go back to school, you can come back and bring this message back. We're going to give you tons of resources today. We're going to leave today with plans in place. We have time set so that you don't have to spend a lot of time planning things when you get back to school. You'll already have an idea of what you're going to do. Like Blair said earlier, if you're really artistic, you can make posters and post them around the school. We want you to be able to spread this message and keep this message going long after today. So whenever you see someone alone, that you do know that you feel empowered to reach out and help them, right? And you feel empowered to start with hello, and you have all these tools that you can do when you see them so that you can make that happen. So let's do a repeat after me again to wrap it up. See someone alone. See someone alone. Reach out and help. Reach out and help. Start with hello. Start with hello. All right, thanks. I'm not leaving them. All right, so now for your turn. We're all here. You all are leaders in your school, obviously, or you wouldn't have been selected to come here today. You're passionate about this issue, right? So I want to tell you some things that you can do. You can actually present this program, right? So you can deliver this PowerPoint. It's pretty easy, right? You just saw me do it. You can teach it to younger kids in elementary school. Right? You can go to schools in the elementary level and teach this program to them. You can make a video. Maybe you feel like, I don't want to stand in front of this many people and talk. You can make a video and then play the video on your morning announcements or however your school might do it. So these are things you can do to give this formal presentation to your school. You can do classroom presentations. You can approach your social studies teacher or your health teacher. Talk to them about the Start With Hello program. Ask them if this is something they can do in their classes. You can, after you've been trained with the slideshow, you can get different members of your club to teach interactive lessons in English or in other subjects, right? You can try to bring this into one of your classes that everybody has, right? So everybody gets the program and everybody knows that when we see someone alone, that we reach out and help, and we start with hello so that we create a closer community. Now, let me give you some tips for presenting. Be friendly, be inviting, smile, make sure to introduce yourself. maybe have a story about why this is important to you, why it means something to you. You want to build enthusiasm to try to get people excited for the icebreaker, get people involved, definitely talk to people, ask them questions, call on them. And then you can do the Start with Hello presentation as a PowerPoint, and you can click through it. You can probably put it, if you have a smart board or Promethean board, or just even on the whiteboard, you can project it. And you want to empower your audience, like I want to empower you all, right? We're giving you this message because we want you to be the leaders of this message. So if you want to present this program and you're going back to your school to present this program, you want to make sure that you're doing all of these things. You want to introduce yourself. You want to introduce your Safe Promise Club. You don't have to do it alone. You can do it with another person. And we have an elementary program that we can share with you that you can do if you want to go to younger grades and present it. And like I said, you just really want to empower and inspire your audience. I know you all think this is a good idea because you're here today, but I want you to inspire them to feel the same way.